So hello everyone, this will be our first session for the history, by which I mean history again, as I stated, that it is one of the most important portion for CDS, that is combined defense services. Again, any of the government exam, especially defense, if you go, you must be aware about the history of the country or even the world. Okay, so we would be catering to two channels over here, that is history, that first would be the Indian history, and subsequently we would be coming to the world history. Now, as I stated, about 22 questions are asked. Now, of which Indian history consists of 15 questions, of which majorities are from like weightage 60%, or if I say 50% is from modern India, and then 30% is from ancient India, and the 20% would be from medieval India. Okay, this is modern India. Now, until and unless you don't know about the Indian Revolution, Indian Freedom Revolution, and until and unless you don't know about what happened and how India was enslaved and then how India got independence, you won't be able to serve, or you won't be able to give justice to any of the designation that you would be serving under the government organization or forces. So it is a must, and we would be starting our first lecture from the modern India, because as I stated, the maximum weightage is from modern India. Okay, so as I stated, first of all, modern India, this particular section is divided into, starting since 18th century. When I say 18th century, इसका मतलब है 1700 से 1799 AD तक. Now this was the time जो framework for the British rule. This was the time when the framework for the British rule was planned out. Okay, so this is why, and that is why it is most important that we study, if we are studying modern India, we should be aware about starting since 1700. Okay, now there are few things, कुछ ऐसी चीजें that we should always remember in the background. What was the condition of India during the 17th or the 18th century, or starting of the 18th century. Now, first of all, we should know end of Aurangzeb, जो end 1707 में Aurangzeb died, death of Aurangzeb. Okay, and as we are all aware, ये medieval history में हम लोग complete करेंगे, लेकिन अभी हम तुम लोग को बता देते हैं कि 1707 में Aurangzeb died, and before that his policy was complete again religious intolerance. Now, religious intolerance in those times were the most important thing, because no one would have ruled India without the cooperation of the majority. Okay, now religious intolerance was there, but the central authority, that is Aurangzeb, was strong. But at the same time, there was a rising force under Marathas, under Chhatrapati Shivaji. Chhatrapati Shivaji. There were the rising forces again. We will come to Shivaji later. But just for the outline, I am telling you about the Marathas. They were the rising forces at that time under Chhatrapati Shivaji. Now, Aurangzeb had 50 years of rule. of which 25 years were in northern India and 25 years he spent useless energy containing Shivajis and Marathas in the Deccan. Okay. Now, after the death of Aurangzeb, first of all we need to know there was religious intolerance. Not everyone was satisfied with the central authority. Now, on his death, there was a king or emperor became Bahadur Shah. Now, Bahadur Shah ruled from 1707, that is on the death of Aurangzeb, till 1712. Okay. Now, he was an old person, dignified, and he well understood the importance of taking the support of the majority. So what he did, he conciliated with Rajputs. Okay. Now we must be aware about there was not only one state. If there was Mughal Empire over here, Delhi, now its influence was still here, till here, till come how it came to here. Now, over here there was Rajputana, who were the ally for the Mughals. Okay. Now, what he did, Bahadur Shah, he tried to, since he was a king, he became king in 1707, he wanted to assert his authority over the Rajputana state. So what he did, Rajputana state at that time of Amer was ruled by Jai Singh. This is a very important person. He is a very important person when it comes to the modern India, because again Jaipur is named after him. That is Jai Singh, Maharaja Jai Singh. And how did he achieve the title of Savai Mirza Savai Raja Jai Singh? I'll describe about it. And then Marwar was another Rajputana state that was being ruled by Ajit Singh. Now what he did, that is Bahadur Shah, since he wanted to assert his authority, इन्होंने क्या करा कि जय सिंह को रिप्लेस करके विजय सिंह, he was the younger brother, उनसे रिप्लेस कर दिया, और अजीत सिंह को he forced him to accept Mughal suzerainty. To accept Mughal sovereignty. Now, he was trying to funds तो ऐसे भी जा चुके थे लास्ट के 25 years में वॉर्स वगैरह में, सो डिक्लाइन तो हो चुका, स्टार्ट बिगिनिंग ऑफ द डिक्लाइन स्टार्ट हो चुका था, बिकॉज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली व्हाट वाज इंपॉर्टेंट इज द इकोनॉमी ऑफ द स्टेट. ओके, वी शुड रिमेंबर कि ताजमहल वगैरह बन रहा था, जब बना था तो उसमें ऑलरेडी बहुत स्टुपेंडस अमाउंट ऑफ जा चुका था पैसा, ठीक है. एंड अगेन आफ्टर शाहजहां हु वाज द एम्पायर किंग, इट वाज औरंगजेब, और ही वाज नॉट रेडी टू, अगेन उसका पॉलिसी वॉर वाला था, ही वांटेड टू कंसोलिडेट हिज पावर. ओके, सो उसने वॉर की पॉलिसी चुनी और अगेन फंड्स पे सीधा असर पड़ रहा था. एंड अगेन बहादुर शाह वांटेड टू जस्ट रीऑर्गेनाइज थिंग, एंड दैट इज व्हाई दीज वर द स्टेप्स दैट ही टुक. बट he might have sorted out the policy, but what happened, 1712 he passed away. Now since he was trying to go ahead and do something better, but he was not able to complete that, now 1712 he passed away. But what happened further was earlier just king were the parties, but now nobles. Now who were the nobles? Nobles बोलते थे सिंपल हिंदी लैंग्वेज में, याद रखना, मंत्री कोई भी ऐसे. Now इनका क्या होता है कि नोबल्स के अंदर में उस टाइम सर्टेन ग्रुप ऑफ, दे वर वॉरियर्स बिकॉज दे यूज्ड टू हेल्प किंग, And how they used to helping, they were themselves warrior, or they had few army under them or group of fighting person, and if they represented and they won, that's how king used to reward them through by giving them a land on which they can rule. So nobles were one of the rising powers at the end of and the beginning of 18th century. We need to remember that nobles used to play a majority of the role. Now, what happened after the death of Bahadur Shah, 1712, he died, and then there was a war of succession again. War of succession is the most interesting feature between the kings. Every time someone passed away, their family used to fight for war of succession. So it's a very interesting thing. You will always, when we cover history, we will always remember war of succession. Because for position and power, everyone used to kill their own. That is why it makes things interesting. Now you don't need to have Netflix when you read history. That is why. Simply entertaining subject. Now war of succession में क्या हुआ कि 1712 में he was succeeded by Jahandar Shah. Jahandar Shah. Now who was Jahandar Shah? Jahandar Shah was supported by the most powerful noble. As I stated, noble used to be a mantri, Zulfikar Khan. So he had huge number of army and huge power, and at that time he was one of the most powerful noble. So what Zulfikar Khan, he supported Jahandar Shah, who was entirely worthless, and he made him Emperor of India, that is 1712 to 1713. Now he reigned for 1 year. Okay. What happened during those 1 year? What was his policy? Now he again understood that Zulfikar Khan, he was the man behind Jahandar Shah. So इनको भी पता था कि we need to take the help from the majority and we need to reconciliate the policies with the Hindus. Now what he did for Rajputana, he simply जय सिंह को वापस reinstate करा इसने. Okay. जय सिंह को reinstate कर दिया इसने वापस से, और जो अजीत सिंह थे उनको क्या कर दिया, अजीत सिंह को पोजीशन दे दी, सूबेदार ऑफ गुजरात बना दिया और मालवा, गुजरात और मालवा. ये तो राजपूत स्टेट्स की कहानी है, ठीक है. लेकिन हम लोग को मराठास और सिख्स के बारे में भी, क्योंकि राजपूताना स्टेट्स यहाँ थे और सिक्स स्टेट यहाँ पे थे. सिक्स एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. सिक्स राजपूताना, ठीक है, ये बंगाल, बिहार, उड़ीसा, ठीक है. तो ये सब भी थे. तो अभी तक तो हम लोग को सिर्फ राजपूताना स्टेट का पता चला है. तो जब औरंगजेब का डेथ हुआ था तो बहादुर शाह ने एक काम और किया था. बहादुर शाह ने यहाँ पे सिख के अगेंस्ट क्या पॉलिसी की थी कि ही फाइनली एक्सेप्टेड और ये गुरु गोबिंद सिंह, जो 10th गुरु थे, गुरु गोबिंद सिंह, ठीक है, गुरु गोबिंद सिंह को हाई मनसब दे दिया. मनसब वॉज बेसिकली ए पोजिशन गिवन टू अ पर्सन ऑफ प्रोमिनेंस और अ मिलिट्री पर्सन. ठीक है, पर्सन ऑफ प्रोमिनेंस और मिलिट्री पर्सन को एक पोजीशन दिया जाता था. इट वॉज अ पोजीशन इन द मिलिट्री. तो गुरु गोबिंद सिंह को एक हाई मनसब दे दिया था. देन इस बात को यहाँ पे याद ये भी रखना होगा, हम लोग मराठास का क्या के साथ इनका क्या सिचुएशन था. नाउ व्हेन वी रीड इंडिया थ्रू मैप इट बिकम्स क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग. ओके, सो मराठास यहाँ पे थे, आप लोग को पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है. नाउ ऑन द डेथ ऑफ औरंगजेब, ठीक है, आप लोग को एक चीज़ बताना चाहूँगा. छत्रपति शिवाजी वॉज दी फाउंडर. छत्रपति शिवाजी, Now after Chhatrapati Shivaji, what happened? He was succeeded by Sambhaji. And then he had a war with Mughal, with whom specifically we'll come later. Okay? And then 1689 he was killed, and that's when his two sons, that is Shahuji Maharaj and Shahuji Maharaj in 1689 was captured along with his wife, means Sambhaji's wife. But another one that we need to remember is that Sambhaji had a brother, Sambhaji had a son. Okay. Now, what happened in this one was that when it was being ruled, when Sambhaji was ruling over the Maratha state, the most important thing what happened was 1707 Shahuji was released. On the death of Aurangzeb, as I stated, Bahadur Shah was trying to reconciliate with Marathas. And that's why he released Shahuji. Okay? But when he released Shahuji, already Tarabai was ruling. Okay? And Tarabai was the wife of Raja Ram, who was the brother of Shahuji. Now Raja Ram got killed when he came face to face with the Mughal forces, but Tarabai had his own gaddi set up at Kolhapur. Now Bahadur Shah didn't recognize Shahuji as rightful king, but when he died in 1712, Jahangir Shah became king, but the real power that was under Zulfikar Khan that we spoke about, he accepted Shahuji as the rightful king. Now this Zulfikar Khan sent his army under Daud Khan Panni to conclude a treaty with Shivaji, जिसमें क्या बोला गया कि we are ready to give you Chowth as well. Sorry, he was sent to Daud Khan Panni was sent to conclude treaty with Shahuji, where it was agreed we will give you Chowth. Now what was Chowth? Chowth was 25. Suppose we have 100% as revenue, so 25% of the revenue was Chowth, which was said कि Chowth would be given and Sardeshmukhi would be also given. Now we would come to Chowth and Sardeshmukhi, especially when we would be reading about the Maratha kingdom. But I am just giving you a basic idea what Chowth and Sardeshmukhi was. Now Chowth was the 25% of the total revenue generated, and Sardeshmukhi was the additional 10% that was levied on the total revenue, that is output. Okay. Now that this was additional 10% onshore on the total revenue. So he agreed that we would be giving you, but it would be collected, revenue would be collected by Mughal officials. Now, when in 1700, this was the whole equation till 1713, okay, till the time Zulfikar Khan was there. Now, what happened in 1713? This is again most important turning point. So, 1713 marked the beginning of Sayyid brothers. Now, who were Sayyid brothers? Now, during 1712, there was a war of succession, as I stated. Now, 1712 to 1713, even though Jahandar Shah ruled, there was another faction of nobles under Sayyid brothers who supported Farooq Shiar. Farooq Shiar. Now, Farooq Shiar was supported by Sayyid brothers, and finally he became the emperor in 1713 when he defeated whom? Jahandar Shah. Okay. Now 1713 was the time when he became emperor, and Sayyid brothers were the one. Now starting from 1713 to 1720 he ruled, or 1790. We'll speak about what happened between this. So अभी सैयद brothers के पास main power आ चुका था. They again tried to reconciliate with the Rajput state as well as the Marathas as well as जो तुम्हारे उस टाइम अपराइजिंग्स थे. ठीक है. तो 1720 में क्या हुआ था, 1713 में क्या हुआ, फारूक शियार बन चुका था. और what फारूक शियार did was 1713 से उसने पॉलिसी अपना चेंज करा कुछ. ओके. ना यहाँ तक अभी सारा क्लियर हो चुका है. अभी आपको एक फ्लो चार्ट है टोटल. या now we are in 1713. ओके. 1713 में बन चुका था. और पावर्स किसके पास था? सैयद ब्रदर्स. नाउ सैयद ब्रदर्स वर टू ब्रदर्स. दिस इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. टू ब्रदर्स known as kingmakers in the history of India. Kingmakers. Okay. Now by kingmakers, first of all, there were Abdullah Khan, and Hussain Ali Khan Barlow. Now, 1713, when Farooq Shiar became the king, at that particular time, 1713, Marathas were ruled by Shahuji. Okay. And Sikhs basically were a rebellious state again under Banda Bahadur. And Rajputana states were again reconciliated. Now, since they were the one who held Farooq Shiar, now Abdullah Khan became Wazir, and he became, that is Hussain Ali Khan, became Mir Bakshi. Now what were Wazir and Mir Bakshi? Wazir was the power Simply, in simple term, it was Diwan or Finance Minister. And Mir Bakshi was military in charge. So they held the key position in the Mughal Empire. Okay, but while they were ready to conciliate between these, a powerful group of nobles, that was 1719, a powerful group of nobles. First of all, now among what you need to remember is that they were going more powerful, and 1713 to 1719 they grew more powerful. That is, Sayyid brothers grew more powerful, and they were utilizing their authority. King was just for the name purpose. Okay. Now, by 1713, when the king Farooq Shah was not agreeing to what the Sayyid brothers were actually enforcing on him, they tried and killed him, or they deposed him and killed him. Killed Farooq Shah. This was the biggest blunder, because again the people were always loyal to their king in India. Okay. Now what happened? 1719 he was killed. That is, Farooq Shah was killed, and there is Muhammad Shah, who ruled from 1719 till 1739. Sorry, it was 1749. Okay. Now, Muhammad Shah was the only last reign that was for so long. He was the last emperor who ruled for so long. Okay. Now, in his time, various incidents took place. First of all, what happened was that he was the one who replaced Farooq Shah, and Farooq Shah was killed by तुम्हारे सैयद ब्रदर्स ने किल कर रखा था. ठीक है. लेकिन अभी सैयद ब्रदर्स ने जब उनको मार दिया, तो सैयद ब्रदर्स के अगेंस्ट देयर वाज अ पॉपुलर अपराइजिंग, बिकॉज he was considered a traitor who killed his own king. Okay, they were considered a traitor. And इस बीच में एक powerful group of nobles था, जो कि निज़ाम उल मुल्क के नाम से जाना जाता है, असफ शाह. Okay, this was the faction, and what they stated that this guy, that is तुम्हारे Sayyid brothers, they are trying to reconciliate with Hindus, and they try to raise a popular movement against Sayyid brothers, and finally Sayyid brothers were defeated in 1720, and that's how Muhammad Shah was finally freed of them, and Nizamul Mulk got the power instead of Sayyid brothers. Though Muhammad Shah was given or rose to the power with the help of Sayyid brothers, but he was the one, उसके रेन में 1720 में निज़ामुल मुल्क ने सप्रेस कर दिया था किसको? सैयद ब्रदर्स को, एंड दैट्स हाउ किंग मेकर्स 1720 में ख़त्म हो चुके थे. एंड निज़ामुल मुल्क, दैट इज असफ जा, was given the title of वज़ीर. But again he tried to implement जो भी चेंजेस करना था इनको, निज़ामुल मुल्क को जो चेंजेस करना था तुम्हारा ये करना चाह रहे थे, but he grew frustrated of the emperor, and that's how 1722 में he left or resigned from the office. And 1724 में he left to create his own state of Hyderabad. This is most important step, because one of the most important official was going to carve out his own state. That was never done before, but it was being done in 1724. A powerful noble is trying to go ahead and create his own state, that is to be known as State of Hyderabad. In 1724, it was done by Nizamul Mulk Asaf Shah. Now this would be our first thing that we need to remember. That 1724, this was the scene. Okay, 1719 से 1749 तक जब तक मोहम्मद शाह ने रूल किया था, तो फर्स्ट इंसिडेंट ये हुआ था कि 1720 में मारे जा चुके थे सैयद ब्रदर्स। 1724 में जो निज़ामुल मुल्क था हैदराबाद का स्टार्ट कर दिया था फाउंडेशन। ओके।